This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social, delighted to be joined by unbeaten Irish star Mick Conlan. We're here in Manchester ahead of Oleksandr Usyk versus Tony Bellew. How are you, Mick?
I'm good, mate. Glad to be here in Manchester for such a big event like this, and you know, to experience the atmosphere, what it's going to be like when I'm here December 22nd.
Now you've, as I was just mentioning to you off camera, you've been around the last couple of weeks. I saw you in Glasgow. Let's just touch on that unfortunate night for your stablemate Ryan Burnett.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. I was gutted for you know, I didn't even really get to enjoy the night then because I actually just wanted to go home. I felt so bad for him. But you know, he has a serious injury. You know, it's not career threatening or anything, but you know, it takes a lot of time to fix it. And you know, I think we'll see him back in the new year. But you know, for the time being, he just got to rest and recover. And you know, I was gutted for him because I do believe he would have, you know, maybe took Donito out later on.
Have you spoken to Ryan since? I'd imagine he's probably not in the greatest of spirits.
Yeah, listen, he's gutted, and you know, I actually thought he would have been more good than what he was, but he understands what it was, and I don't think, you know, he thinks he knows it's not a real loss because it was an injury, you know what I mean? So it's not a loss, it was an injury that made the decision go the way it did. But you know, so I think, you know, he's looked at it that way and went, there was nothing I can do, it was out of my control, and you know, I just got to rebuild, come back, and you know, get that title back.
Now obviously you train under Adam Booth, you've got a very tight-knit stable there, you've got Josh Kelly appearing on this bill. When something like that happens to one of your stablemates, does it affect the gym, or do you kind of try and put it behind you and move on because you've got another fight the next week?
You know, I think as a fighter, you know, you just got to be selfish and think about yourself. You know, I dwell on it because I'm not fighting and I have nothing coming up, so I can think about it and, you know, be gutted for him. But you know, I think Josh, you know, he probably was gutted at the time when he was, because he was texting me saying just keep to let him know I'm thinking about him and all this. So he definitely was thinking about it, but he obviously has put it in the back of his head. He's got to focus on his own fight and got his own battle.
So let's just talk about you. Your career has kind of been all over the place, both as an amateur and now as a professional. You spent some time out in America, you're now with Adam Booth. Tell me a little bit about the time that you spent out in America with Manny Robles.
You know, it was great. It was a great first year of professional boxing. It was a good welcoming to the game. I got fantastic sparring with the likes of Jesse Magdaleno and Oscar Valdez and many other pros over there. But you know, I'm really happy I done it because I learned the kind of toughness and the grit you need to have when you're in with the likes of those Mexican fighters and you know, American fighters. I think a lot of people would need to go and do what I done the first year, because I think, you know, a lot of people don't see those kind of styles until they're fighting for a world title, possibly because they're mainly based here in the UK and everything's at arm's reach. But you know, I feel that, you know, the first year has been very, very beneficial to my career, and I was really happy I done it.
What did you learn from sort of a technical aspect out there, training with Manny Robles, getting that kind of sparring? What did that add to your professional game that you feel maybe wouldn't have added if you would have started it over here or in Ireland?
I think more so, you know, the wars and the inside fighting and stuff like that, the crudeness of, you know, Mexicans and dirty fighters, and you know, because there's an awful lot of dirty fighters who come into the gyms over there, and you know, you learn little dirty tricks and stuff, and you know, I feel it's opened my eyes to that kind of style of boxing. Obviously the Mexican style of boxing, where they just go to war and stand through the toe, and I think on the technical side it would be more towards inside fighting maybe. But you know, I feel that the reason I came back was more to focus on my technical ability, and the coach I think is the best for that stuff was Adam Booth.
Now that leads us on to Adam Booth. Adam Booth is somebody who is renowned for his kind of meticulous preparation and his training. How has that differed from your time in America, and what do you feel Adam Booth has given you and will give you as a professional?
I think, you know, he's kind of brought me back to using what I use best, which is my technical skills, my movement and stuff, instead of just, when I came back to the gym, the first time I came back, I was just trying to go to war with the guys in the gym, and they were moving, and they were like, why are you being so crude? It's only sparring, you're meant to learn things instead of just going to war and trying to win a spar. But I feel Adam has kind of showed me a lot more new things in terms of technical stuff, and at the same time, you know, working on things to enhance what I've already learned in America, but opening up different things and bring me back to what I do best, is using my ability.
And one of the things that I'm most fascinated about whenever I encounter an Adam Booth fighter is kind of his mental aspect to his training. He's somebody who places a lot of emphasis on kind of the psychology behind a fighter. Have you found that difficult to work with? Have you found that easy to work with? Tell me a little bit about that.
It's been easy. It doesn't feel like it's Like it's not forced on there. It's not anything like that on there. It's just how Adam is. It's not like he even tries to do it to you or do anything with your head or get into your head or anything. He just, when you're talking and you get a connection with a coach, it just shows. It shows out. You know what I mean? And I feel that when we're in the gym, we're always having fun. We're always having a laugh, even though it's serious. We're still having fun and having a laugh, and it's just enjoyable. And I think that's the way it needs to be. You just got to enjoy what you're doing. And you know, there were times when I was in the LA, I wasn't enjoying it. There was, you know, it felt like it was just a hard slog a lot of the at times, not a lot of the time. But with that, when I've been in Adam's gym, it's just been fun. It's been relaxed. It's been chilled out. We work hard. We work on things which we need to work on, technical things, mental things, obviously. You know, all different little things. Every day it seems like it is a school day, and they're learning something new. There's never anything too repetitive. Obviously, you need to be repetitive in certain things. You know, you need to keep repeating things, but you know, it doesn't feel like it's like, oh, I'm getting up and doing the same thing I done yesterday. It's never like that with Adam, and I think that's one of the key factors of being a good coach. You need to be able to be adaptable and always wanting to learn new things, and you know, you can never learn enough, and I think Adam knows that, and for a coach to know that, it's very, very important, because a lot of coaches do believe they know everything.
You return to action on December the 22nd on the undercard of Josh Warrington versus Frampton. What kind of opponent are we looking at? Is it going to be this stage of your career that you're now starting to look at approaching titles?
Yeah, it's going to be for some sort of title off ended this week, but the opponent's been chose since 2 weeks ago or a week ago, I think. I can't mention names yet because it hasn't been officially announced. But you know, it'll be good. It'll be a good opponent. It'll be a good name that people will know. It'll be a southpaw too, so it'll be my first time with a southpaw as a pro. And these are all little boxes you need to tick on your way up the ladder. And you know, I feel that I've boxed many southpaws in my career, so I don't really have a problem with them. But as a pro, I haven't faced one yet, and I think I need to tick that box off. Obviously, it's going to be a UK fighter too, so you know, it's all good. You need to have these kind of things in your career, and I think with Top Rank and MTK, my career is going in the right direction at the right time, at the right pace. There's obviously, you know, fights in the past I've went, why am I even fighting this dude? But Top Rank have a thing that they know what they're doing, and these are all boxes that needs to be ticked. But you know, there's been dudes I've thought, and I've been, why have I fought this guy? He's terrible. But you know, that's just the way it is. You just gotta trust in your promoters and your management team, and you know, I do that wholeheartedly.
Tell me about it, because you're somebody who has an extensive amateur background where you've boxed the best fighters in the world. When you turn over to the professional game, you just mentioned it there, that kind of mental aspect of you're not fighting a #1 ranked Cuban with 7 national titles. What's that like to prepare for, and how do you get yourself up for that?
For me, that's probably harder to prepare for than one of the elite fighters, because even as an amateur, you know, I would have went away and won a world championship, won a European championship, and then went back and performed terrible in the national championships because it wasn't as half standard, and like you kind of, I don't know, for some reason that my standard always kind of seems like it lowers the whatever I'm fighting. I feel I've got rid of that now since I've been working with Adam. But mentally, I was always kind of thinking that stuff, and that maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was a mental block where I lowered my style or lowered my you know, my own traits and kind of fell into stupid things. But it is hard when you know it's hard to get up for fights when you know it's not going to be much of it. You know you're expected to win. You know it should be easy, but I think I have a good team around me where I am focused, and I know that, like, you know, a loss in the pros is very nowadays is very bad. It seems like you get set back a big way, but you know, for me, I don't plan on losing. I've kind of used that thought of thinking, like, you know, no matter who you lose to, it can set you back so far. You use that thought to kind of push on and make sure you're up for those fights, and no matter who you're fighting, you take in, you know, consideration this could be a challenge, but at the same time, yeah, it's quite tough at times to get myself in the right frame of mind.
Just finally, because I'm very aware that you do have to shoot. Okay, we'll carry on then. Tell me a little bit about December the 22nd. You've got Frampton on the bill, Paddy Barnes on the bill, yourself. It's going to be like Belfast coming over to Manchester.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be the first time I've shared a card with Paddy as a pro. It'll be the first time I've ever shared a card with Carl, and you know, I'm excited. I've watched the majority of Carl's fights live in Belfast, and to be sharing a card with, you know, such a legend of Irish boxing is, you know, it's a great feeling. Something that I am excited about, and to be sharing a card with my mate Paddy Barnes, who I've shared numbers of cards. I couldn't tell you how much. I've shared the ring with him in sparring and in charity fights and stuff. So I'm excited for it. There'll be a lot of fans coming over. You know, Carl has a huge following, and I'm expecting a lot of people to be here. And you know, I'm looking forward to actually watching the main event, because Warrington fans are meant to be absolutely crazy. And just, if any of them are watching, don't be throwing piss over me if they're throwing piss, like, lads. You know, I'm not about that life. But I heard it's going to be they're crazy, and I know Carl fans are rowdy enough too, and you know, I'm looking to see how it gels.
Tell me about that fight. Frampton looking to gain a world title at featherweight again. Josh Warrington seems to be on the incline, as it were, in his career. It seems to me a little bit closer than it potentially would have been 18 months ago. Something you agree with?
Listen, I think it's closer than anybody. Well, not anybody. Than most kind of fans are making it out. The people think Carl's going to blast them out, but I think Carl's going to win, and I think maybe a late stoppage or a close points win. But Warrington is definitely in the fight. He's not gonna get blasted away early. I don't think. You know, and I think Carl is thinking that way too, and I think he needs to think that way, because you know, he's coming to the end, kind of the last few fights of his career. Last 3-4 maybe. So he wants big fights, and makes sure he needs to win this one. And I think he'll approach it in the right frame of mind, that where he'll prepare right enough. But I've been very impressed with Josh, especially against Andrew Selby. He was fantastic. Or sorry, Lee Selby, not Andrew. Andrew beat me. But we were good mates still. But yeah, against Lee, he was very good. And obviously there's the weight problem thing with Lee, but I still thought Warrington's game plan and how his father was in the corner was, you know, it was very, very interesting. And I think his father could become a key factor in this fight if he can create a game plan to beat Frampton, which, you know, it will be very hard, because Carl can box on the front foot, he can box on the back foot, he can punch, and I think he can punch harder than Selby. So, you know, I think he'll gain a bit more respect in terms of, you know, the crudeness of Warrington coming forward. But you know, it's definitely an interesting fight. It's one I pay a lot of interest to. Two exciting fighters. Warrington's punch output is fantastic. His father in the corner seems special, but Carl is a special fighter, and has always kind of come up with the answers.
Now, you say you keep an eye on that. Is that as a fan or as a potential opponent in the future?
Not with Carl as a potential opponent, but definitely with Josh. You know, me and Carl are on the same management team. We're friends, and probably in the past I would have wanted that fight, but you know, I've grown to become friends with Carl, and you know, I have huge respect for him, and you know, I've always said I want to become a 3-weight world champion, and that's something that I'll aim to do as a pro fighter. But you know, if I can do half of what Carl has done in my career, you know, it's, you know, half of what Carl has done, if I can do it in my own career, you know, you're always going to be a very, very good fighter and a very special fighter.
Now, you're somebody who gained a lot of recognition for your amateur career, and a lot of notoriety for your amateur career, particularly the Olympics. Now, I read something today about you've been very vocal in recent days about the potential of Olympic boxing being removed. Just tell me about that.
You know, obviously, you know, everything going on with the IBA at the minute. It's a shame that, you know, the Olympic Council seems like they're gonna, well, they're talking about kicking them out, and the amateur boxing kind of being banished from the Olympics, and I think that would be horrible. I'm honest, I don't think it will happen, and I hope it doesn't happen. But if it does happen, you know, it's terrible for fighters, and it's terrible for amateur sport, because you know, if you look back in the history of boxing and amateur boxing, look at the great fighters who became Olympic champions. You've got Ali, you've got Ray Leonard, you've got Lomachenko in recent times, Sugar Ray, Usyk. You know, there's so much fighters. Andre Ward. You know, these guys went and achieved Olympic gold, and that was the only thing I wanted to do in my career, was be Olympic champion. You know, I won everything else. The only one I didn't win, the only championship I didn't win, was the Olympic Games. I got a bronze medal in 2012, and I would have loved to get gold, but unfortunately I didn't. And that's probably, I wouldn't say regret, but that's the only thing I really wish I had won as an amateur. I think being an Olympian and the Olympic experience is something that no one can ever take away from me. It's something that I feel that anybody who goes to the Olympics is very, very lucky, because they get this experience, that feeling of being an Olympian and being a part of something bigger than what I think is bigger than actual sport. You know, it's everybody watches, the whole world watches, the eyes are on it. It's the biggest event in the world when it's on. And if boxing's left out of it, amateur boxing is gonna, you know, suffer terribly, because you're never going to see as good fighters coming through, or reaching their potential and becoming as good at pros as they can. You know, I think the structure of amateur boxing, you know, it you know, sets them up for the pros really well, and you know, it brings through some great fighters.
You're somebody who was very outspoken about AIBA, and is that something that you've sort of took on board with this, and I think your voice is one that will be heard, considering everything that's happened to you in the past. Is that something that's come into your thought process with speaking out?
No, listen, I'm not speaking out for no reason. I've only been asked the questions with AIBA and stuff. Obviously I have my beef. I don't know if my fame is squashed yet, but it is what it is. I have no care for it now. It's in the past. You know, it doesn't bother me, and I don't think like, oh, maybe if I speak out, people will listen. I just hope amateur boxing isn't. There's no thought behind me saying this. It's just, I just hope it stays in the Olympics.
Okay, well, just finally, give me a word on your stablemate Josh Kelly, who returns to action tonight on the Usyk-Bellew undercard. Hear a lot of good things about him from everybody I speak to. What's it like sharing a stable with Josh Kelly?
Listen, no one has seen the full potential of Josh Kelly. As me as a fighter, and I've been around good fighters my whole career, and I've seen amazing fighters throughout my career, but watching Josh Kelly train and watching Josh Kelly spar and do things in the gym which I haven't seen people do, he's a special talent, and he is. I admit, like, I enjoy watching him train. I take things away from watching him train, because I know myself that I'm never finished learning, and I can watch him and I can take things away, and I can go and practice on things what I'm watching him do. You know, he can probably do the same with me, but at the same time, I think he's a real special fighter, and someone who, you know, can, once a challenge is given to him, a proper challenge, he will really shine. I don't think no one has tested him yet, and that's the thing. Once someone tests him, it's when you'll see the best in him. Just
lastly, Usyk-Bellew tonight. What can you tell me about Usyk-Bellew? Who's going to win that fight?
For me, Usyk's going to win. I would love Tony to win, and I honestly would, but I'm a big Usyk fan, and I rate him so much. I think he will mate. I think Dave Caldwell might wave the towel at the 10th round.
Okay, well, Michael Conlan, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Adam Booth's just popped up behind you, so don't want him to tell me off. Thanks very much. Catch up with you soon.
Cheers, thank you.